Enjoying Life Over the Road, a community that champions adventure, innovation, and well-being.
Welcome to Enjoying Life OTR. My name is Cindy Tunstall and I'm your host. Today we've got a great show. My guest is Dan Barnett. He's got a great story to share with us and I can't wait for you to hear it. He was actually hit by another truck driver going down the highway and he chased him down all gangster style and worked out great, but quite a story. You're going to enjoy hearing it from him. Anyway, he's got a lot of experience OTR, and we're actually going to make this into a two-part series because we're going to talk about the business of trucking in our next episode and talk about some changes that he's seen in the industry and some things that are going to be coming up. So I think you're going to enjoy that too, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, welcome to the show, Dan. I'm looking forward to sharing your story.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you've had a hectic week, and I'm eager to hear that story. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about your background, how long you've been in the industry, you know, what kind of freight you're running, and just so we kind of have an idea who we're talking to.
Sure, absolutely. I originally got my CDL in 1999. Well, let me rewind. I was a bouncer in Nashville after going to college and majoring in the beach and concerts and extracurricular activities. So I came back to Nashville, where I grew up, and I started bouncing at all the local watering holes, and then decided I needed a little more professional outlook on life. So I joined the Marines in the reserves, did that, Marine Corps Infantry, assigned to a reserves unit in Nashville. So I only did the Marine Corps training one weekend a month. So I started looking in the want ads in the newspaper for a job, quote unquote, real job. And I saw an ad for truck drivers for make $60,000 a year. I thought, whoa, that's pretty good. $1999, that was impressive. So I worked for them for several years, cut my teeth as a company driver. And back then it was kind of a driver's market. You could go wherever you wanted to. And at the time I had a girlfriend and she kept, wanting me to find something closer to home. So her dad worked at a beer distributor. So I went over to them and I started running a beer route basically to all the places I used to bounce. So I reconnected with all my old buddies and that was just rolling kegs into the Nashville bars, and it was hard work and it didn't make as much as running over the road. But
and how long did you do that?
That was 3 years, I guess I did that.
Yeah.
And then I got out of that and I did a short little stint doing real estate appraisal work and then decided I needed college. So I went back to college, finished my degree in general business. And after that, I spent 5 years doing healthcare IT work, kind of cut my teeth in the corporate space. And someone like me I'm more of a trucker than I am a corporate person. I kind of felt like a gopher in one of those whack-a-mole games, poking my head up over my cubicle, hey, Jimmy, let's go to lunch, that type of stuff. That was just not for me. The office politics just weren't for me. It was a bad situation. So I got out of that. I had a landscaping business when I was in high school, so I started doing that. I was involved in a pretty bad rollover collision and busted my ankle and really bad, broke a bunch of ribs and just got banged up really good. The landscaping business required me to be so active in it that it just failed. It just went under. Since I was, out, we went back to Georgia, and then I was like, you know what, let's go trucking. Like that's what I really love doing, and that's what makes me happy. And
What'd she think of that idea? Was she interested in doing it with you, or you were going to just hit the road by yourself?
No, we've got a 1-year-old, and so at the time she was pregnant with him, and the authority I've got is only 150 days or 180 days, I guess, old now. But she had to think about it for a few minutes, and the short-term goal, I'm going to be going quite a bit, but the long-term goal is find something dedicated regional and run that.
Yeah.
So that we kind of put a plan together, and I showed her the plan, and we talked about it, kind of family discussion about it, whatever, and the end result was, cluck, cluck, let's truck. So here we are.
Okay, so I love the background. I love hearing your story about your family, your current situation, and I do want to hear more about your trucking company and all the stuff you run, but I definitely want to hear about the week you've had. Tell me what happened last week.
Oh, my gosh. So let's start where I picked up the freight to come up here. So I was getting an APU installed. My truck is a 2021 W900L Kenworth, like my dream truck. It's a 18-speed X15 with 565, 1850 torque. It's awesome. It's got the 283 wheelbase and 336 gears. It's a great truck. Yeah. And studio sleeper, the whole 9 yards. And I've put some chrome on, just kind of touches of chrome here and there. I'm not a big chrome person, but I put some chrome on it, heading down the road. So I picked up a load heading to Lamont, Illinois, to have this green APU installed. This has been kind of a 6-month thing because they couldn't get engines, with all the supply issues going on in the supply chain. So I pick up a load, and I'm on my way up 65 in Indiana, hang left on 80. I'm in kind of the Chicago traffic. Cars are cutting me off, traffic jam everywhere. It's your standard kind of situation, city traffic scenario, we'll call it, going between 6 and 15 miles an hour, trying to find what gear will, let you just kind of idle along. So I finally get this gear. Well, everybody starts yelling on the radio, on the CB. They said there's a truck broken down in the lane that I was in. So I threw my blinker on, and there's like a merge lane off on the right, and all these cars are running, coming around, doing their thing, what cars normally do. I waited until there was this gap, started into this gap, and this day cab kind of accelerated. And I was like, I think that guy's going to run into me. So I kind of swerve off, and then he jams on his brakes, and then in my mind let me in, and at first I kind of thought, okay, maybe he's just not paying attention, and then I remembered I was in Chicago, so no chance of that. So in his mind I cut him off and did a dirty deed, cutting him off, and here's this big OTR truck cutting off a day cab, local Chicago guy. So I'm in the lane, no problem. And then cars are going by me, everybody's fine. I found my gear. I'm idling in the top side of 4th, and I'm just, kind of cruising along with the slow traffic like a snail. And he gets out into that right lane, comes around me on the right side, and then he just slams his intermodal trailer into the corner of my truck.
Oh my gosh.
I hit the brakes, and of course I was in such a low gear that didn't immediately stop the truck. So then I kicked the clutch, and all this is happening really fast. But long story short, the bumper got peeled forward. The quarter panel or the hood got crunched over the wheel. The air cleaner is crushed, and the exhaust shield on the passenger side is like all banged in. So
now, at the time when this is happening, did you think he did this on purpose to you, or what what's your mindset about his motivation at the time? Are you thinking he meant to clock you?
You know, old school tactic. This guy, I don't know how long he's been driving, but you know, one of the things that jerks used to do to each other, and I don't know, you know, some people used to do this just to be kind of flex their muscles on each other, but you know, people would do this in order to get somebody to jam their brakes and shift their load, you know, and then when they get to the destination, they're screwed. You know, they open the thing and all the stuff is damaged and the receiver rejects the load. So that's, you know, I kind of felt like maybe that's what he was trying to do, but then he just hit the brakes. Like he pulled in and hit the brakes. Like normally people would, if they're trying to do that, they swoop in, they get you to flinch, and then they swoop out. And there's nobody hits anybody, you know?
Yeah.
This guy swooped in and literally hit the brakes. And then once our trucks touched, he took off. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't going to happen. And so I was grossing out like 47. I only had like 10,000 or something in the box, probably 11, maybe 11. And so I threw it in fourth and just let the dog eat and chased him down. And he didn't stop for about an eighth of a mile. You know, this truck is governed at about 124, so he wasn't going to get away from me. So I got behind him, and he, of course, jumps out trying to flex his muscles and everything before I even step down from the steps. And I'm a broader, my shoulder, I'm a broader guy, you know, like shorter, 5'8", like, you know, 278, something like that. You know, I'm a big dude. And he started kind of walking back, and my boots hit the ground, and he kind of stopped. And
he's like, let me be playing here.
Yeah. And I said, are you proud of yourself? Do you feel a lot better? Do you feel like you accomplished what you were trying to do? I said, let's come look at your handiwork over here. And we stepped over to that side of the truck, and I was like, let me ask you something. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a moron do you think you have to be in order to cause this damage right here? And I said, I'm going to put you at about a 10. You may be breaking the scale at about 11 or maybe even a 12. And
how old is this the other driver? So just give me a picture of what's happening.
He's probably he's probably same age or right around as me. He's in his mid-40s.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a Harley Davidson shirt on. He's got, you know, the classic Harley goatee going on.
Yeah.
You know, and he's talking like a Chicago guy at a Cubs game playing the Red Sox.
Gotcha. Okay. So how's he responding to you? What happened next?
He says, this is all your fault. You didn't let me in. And I said, buddy, I had my blinker on for like a mile. And I saw a gap in the traffic, and we're going 6 miles an hour. It's not like I cut you off. At 6 miles an hour, I started changing lanes. Like, I don't know what you're talking about here. I didn't wag my wagon at you or do any of the classic trucker tricks, you know. I mean, we're going 6. like, come on. And I said, also, it's a turn indicator, not a turn requester. I literally was telling you I'm about to change lanes. Yeah. There's nothing on that blinking light that says, excuse me, could I possibly maybe, if it's okay with you, change change lanes? Would that be okay with you? None of that. So anyway, I said it's a turn indicator, and he says to me, he's like, well, you hit my mirror. I was like, well, let's go look at your mirror. I did not hit your mirror. Let's go look at it. Show me the damage on your mirror. And then let's come back and let's compare the damage on my truck. Okay? And he's like, okay, well, you didn't hit my mirror. I'm like, let's just chalk this up to road rage 101.
Right?
Like, this isn't the correct way to do things. And so anyway, now, I'm a one truck, one guy, owner, operator, operation. So now I've got a load I've got to run. I don't even know. I may have to buy a bumper so that I don't get put out of service or something.
Yeah.
I've got a 700-mile run over to Lancaster, PA, and then I'm probably going to hunt up a load down to back toward the house, and his insurance they've already admitted fault. So.
Oh, good. I wondered about that. Good.
Yeah.
Got to get the money back.
Of course, I sent them my dash cam video, and they're like, well, it took you 4 seconds to stop, so you're 10% at fault. I'm like, no, that's not, we're not going to go that route.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
No. So, I'm going to take the truck to MHC Kenworth and get them to do an appraisal on it. And then they said they're going to cut a check for whatever the repairs are. So
good.
I've got an attorney that I consult with about different things in the industry and for the company, on the company side. So I may talk to them and find out if I need to do anything extra because with these trucks that aren't fleet trucks, the truck itself is also an investment. You're hoping it'll hold value as long as it can, and while you're enjoying it. So the diminished value of the truck because it's been in a wreck, I'll have to research that and see what that's all.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so that's kind of what my weeks looks like.
So you could drive the truck now. You're back on the road, or?
I'm on the road. I've got to hunt up a steer tire. There's a chunk out of one of the lines of tread that I'm comfortable running on for a little bit, but I started out with brand new tires all around, so I'm probably going to replace it with something comparable.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's driving, running, driving. I'm kind of in heightened level of awareness, making sure there's no new creaks or cracks or pops or clicks or any of that stuff. So
yeah, that's smart. Okay, well, I'm sorry that happened to you. That really sucks, but it sounds like you handled it really well, and it's had, as far as an incident can happen, it sounds like it's happened a pretty good outcome. So hopefully you'll be able to get all the money from the insurance company, and
Yeah, I think he was a little surprised looking in his mirror, seeing a truck with a smoking wheel chasing after him.
He's like, I don't think this is going as I had planned.
Maybe I should stop.
I know. It's like, he doesn't seem to be letting up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he did. I mean, I'm glad it didn't, that when you stopped it went as well as it did. I mean, as far as that goes. I mean, he could be crazy. He's obviously a little crazy, so I'm glad everything worked out. Okay, so my show is Enjoying Life OTR. So, that although that was not enjoyable, but it happens. It's life on the road, right? And I like the way you handled it, and it's had a good outcome. So that's positive. We gotta hang on to those moments. Tell me about something fun you've been able to do on the road. You know, you've been all over the country, so over the years there must have been some fun little side things that you've been able to do outside the truck. I think a lot of us drivers, we're just all about the work we're out there, and I get that. But have there been fun things that you've been able to do as a result of your travel?
Absolutely. Honestly, I think the best thing about trucking for me is being able to visit with people, with my friends that are all over the place. When I went out west, I got to see a buddy of mine that's a Border Patrol agent that lives in El Paso, and hang out with him and have some barbecue and beers and just, kind of kick back with him while I was resetting my clock, and I spent the night at this Echo Reservoir out near Salt Lake, and it was absolutely, I'm a big nature guy. I'm a sportsman. I'm hunting, fishing, kind of that type of thing. Echo Reservoir has this tiny little pull-off. Maybe 4 trucks can fit in there. And it's just the most pretty kind of sandstone meets sagebrush type place. And glass, water, I got to see the sunset and rise there. It's just absolutely amazing. So that's kind of, for me, that's, I like seeing the sights. I like getting out and getting an Uber into some of these smaller towns and doing stuff like that, going out to dinner, and eating dinner by myself just in these towns and people watching and stuff. But for the most part, it's the people. I mean, I love being able to visit with my friends and that are everywhere. And it's also kind of cool, when they're like, well, what'd you do yesterday? Oh, well, yesterday I was in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Yeah.
What'd you do today? Oh, well, today I'm El Paso, Texas. So
yeah,
it's just kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, just, when I came out of Marine Corps boot camp and I was all hopped up on, I'm patriotic anyway, but I was all hopped up on new Marine moto, just puffy chest, jarhead type stuff, and getting in a truck after that and seeing the country, seeing those long trains running west. I mean, it's stunning, this country we live in. It is absolutely stunning. And it's vast. Like, most people are living in cities and they don't even realize how amazing it is to just drive across this land we live in.
Yeah, I always think that. I'm like, everybody should take time and even, work a long trip and be able to do that and make a long road trip, even, four-wheelers who aren't truckers. I think my parents still do that, and I just love that. And just there's so much to see and do, and it's so great.
Absolutely.
So beautiful.
Absolutely.
Well, even when we travel on vacation, drivers will, four-wheelers, they like people that work a 9 to 5 because their schedule is tight. They fly from one big city to another big city, and they miss all the great things in between. So I'm like you. I love this country, and it's so beautiful. I love the opportunity to drive and travel and see. And I'm always like, man, I wish my family was in the truck with me. This is so beautiful.
Absolutely. My brother, I joke with him because you can ask him, he hates flying, so he drives everywhere. And he is the finder of the coolest little niche places, the little unique stops, the biggest ball of yarn and the Wisconsin cheese rest stop, and like he just stumbles on all these awesome little nooks and crannies and he's a diner guy, so he's like always finding cool little diners and stuff like that. And
I love that.
It's just
great. I love the opportunity to sit down and talk to people that live in a different area too, because the culture is a little bit different. I love hearing people's stories, so I'm talking wherever I'm sitting down with a stranger. So I'm like, "What's your deal?" Hey, don't forget to download our app. It's free, Enjoying Life OTR. It's a social network that's designed just for truckers. Place where we can share our favorite stops and just connect with other people that understand the lifestyle. So check it out. It's free. Enjoying Life OTR. So super fun.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I like checking out the variety. You know, I've tried different things with the truck to figure out how to maximize the profit from a business perspective. And one of those things, like, not to switch gears from the fun traveling thing, but one of those things was I hooked up to some auto racing trailers for some motorsports teams, and I hauled in the road racing circuit. So
fun.
one of the places
I love that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So
and one
cool.
of the places I went was Watkins Glen, New York. So if anybody ever has the opportunity to haul a load of anything to, what they call the Finger Lake region of New York, I mean, it is absolutely one of the most beautiful places in our country to just visit. Small towns. People think of New York, they think New York City, but this is upstate New York. Is just stunning landscape, mountains and green, lush. It's just absolutely awesome. And little tiny town, Watkins Glen. I used to haul, when I was running for RE West, I used to haul to Horseheads, New York, which is near there. And there was a small town, I don't even remember the name, but on the way up there, where you could, back in the day, you could pull off. There were a lot more local, like, small mom and pop truck stops back then. And there was this little spot you could pull off, and one truck, and you're like a superhero in town. Everybody wants to take a picture with the giant truck parked outside the diner, but you'd go in there and there are homemade pies and you get dinner made for you. Like, it's like being at somebody's house, is kind of the way I would explain it. Yeah. And it's not there anymore, but those places it's all kind of commercialized now, but those places, I feel like everyone kind of hems and haws and says, oh, the yesteryear's gone, it'll never come back. But I don't know. I think there's a cycle to it, and I'm hoping that people will start to appreciate. You're starting to kind of see it with this health thing, but I think people will appreciate homemade food again, and these little mom and pops may come back, but we'll see.
I hope so too. It's like, I loved hearing those stories, and I love when I run across a place like that. I enjoyed this interview so much. Dan's got so much great stuff to share. We're going to have to do it in 2 parts, so y'all have to check back with us next week. We're going to talk about trucking in the present, how things are going. We talk a little bit more about how things have been in the past, and we also look forward to what things are happening in the future for trucking. So even touch a little bit on autonomous trucking. So it's a great conversation. I can't wait for you to hear the rest of this interview. It's really been a great conversation. Hey, and don't forget to check out our app, Enjoying Life OTR, a social network that's designed just for truckers. It's a place for us to share our favorite stops, maybe be inspired to try some new places, and just a way to connect with other drivers who understand the lifestyle. So it's all free, easy to download, easy to use. So hop on there and let me know what you think. Anyway, I look forward to connecting with you there, and y'all be safe out there and enjoy your journey. And I sure do appreciate all you do, and look forward to hearing the rest of our conversation with Dan next week. So see you soon. Bye.